AITA for refusing to fund my boyfriend's genius idea? I, F24, have been dating my boyfriend, M29, for 3 years, and while he's always been a bit wacky, I usually find it kind of endearing. This time, however, he's really outdone himself. A few weeks ago, he told me he had a groundbreaking idea that would change humanity forever. Entertaining him, I asked what it was. His answer? He wants to invent a new color. Before we go any further, it's important to note we are both college graduates. I graduated in biochemistry last year, and my boyfriend in philosophy a few years before, which makes this all the wilder, I guess. I tried to gently point out that colors exist as part of the visible spectrum of light, so this might not be possible unless he was about to discover some new wavelength. But he waved me off, calling me close-minded, and saying he was enlightened in a way you'll never be. At first, I just nodded and let him ramble about his vision. But then he told me he needed funding to start his research. Specifically, he wanted me to give him $4,000 so he could buy supplies, including advanced art tools, a lab coat, because apparently, scientists wear them, so it would make him feel smarter and, wait for it, a trip to the desert because he thinks the pure sunlight there will inspire him. I told him absolutely not. I'm saving for grad school, and even if I weren't, I'm not dropping thousands of dollars on his, whatever this is. He got mad, saying I didn't believe in him or his potential to revolutionize human perception. He even accused me of being jealous that he had a world-changing idea, and I didn't. It got really heated, and he ended up saying a lot of things about using my card as he knew the details anyway. For reference, he's been unemployed for a while now, whilst I've got a regular job. I ended up saying some things I do regret, but a lot of it was retaliation. Now he's sulking and telling everyone I'm unsupportive and afraid of innovation. His friends are backing him up, saying I should be encouraging his creativity instead of crushing his dreams. AITA for refusing to fund his quest to invent a new color? Edit. In terms of drugs, we smoke weed occasionally, but haven't in the past few weeks. I've never seen him do any other drugs, nor have I found any in the house. So I don't know if I can really blame this on a bad trip. Second edit. Thank you guys for all the advice. I've moved the majority of my money into my second bank account for now, which I'm pretty sure he doesn't have access to. In terms of his mental health, I'm not in the habit of sharing his personal history online, but seeing all your comments, I do agree that this might be a mental health issue, and I'm going to attempt to approach him with the idea of a consultation tomorrow. If anyone has any advice on that, please let me know, as I don't want it to come across as insulting. I know he was down after his job, but the comments have got me more worried about more serious illnesses that he may have. What do you think about the situation? Comment down below.
Now on to our next story. AITA for asking my sister-in-law to pay her share of the bill when I used a gift card to cover most of the meal. I, 26M, and my partner, 27F, planned a birthday dinner for her father at a steakhouse. A while back, I received a gift and a $200 gift card to this restaurant as a thank you from a contractor I work closely with, which I thought would be perfect for the occasion. During Christmas, I opened the gift with the gift card, and my sister-in-law was there to see me holding up the gift card. She immediately suggested we use it for my father-in-law's birthday. I agreed, but I didn't realize she'd interpret we to mean she could invite her boyfriend, recently reconciled after a year-long breakup, and go all out with their orders. A few days before the dinner, sister-in-law asked if her boyfriend could join. I was hesitant since he hadn't been around for a year, and the family has mixed feelings about him. My partner doesn't like conflict and said yes, so he came. At the dinner, things got awkward fast. Sister-in-law and her BF ordered the most expensive items on the menu. They both ordered surf and turf with extra lobster tail, while the rest of us ordered modestly. Their meal alone was over $150. At the end of the meal, SIL then suggested dessert, but I declined since my partner and I already bought a cake for father-in-law. The bill came to be approximately $300 after tax and tip. I used the gift card but still had to pay $100 with my credit card. I asked sister-in-law to cover her and her BF's share and split the cost of my father-in-law's meal with me, explaining that the gift card wasn't free money for her and her BF to splurge. She got upset, said the gift card should cover everything, and stormed out. Later, my partner and I drove my in-laws home and dropped them off in awkward silence. On the way back, my partner told me I was out of line, but I feel justified since her actions caused the bill to exceed the gift card's value. Update 1. Thank you everyone for commenting and providing feedback in this thread. The comments here has helped me see things in a different perspective and now will help me prevent such thing from happening again in the future. I received a call from my father-in-law this afternoon. The dinner was last night. He called to thank me for organizing and paying for the dinner. He also mentioned that he plans to call her later today to talk to her, though I'm not sure how much detail he will go into. So far, I've apologized to sister-in-law for any miscommunication and for asking her to split at the dinner table. However, I haven't received a response from her, and my partner has been cold toward me. Honestly, I don't expect to get paid back. This is just a lesson for me to learn. Updates 2. This is probably my last update, and I think there's a resolution to this problem. I got a call from her in the evening. She apologized and Venmo'd me $100, which is better than nothing. My partner and I also had a serious discussion about their family, and I feel like there's been some progress in improving the relationship between me and their family. I've seen a lot of comments saying I have no backbone, or that I'm a pushover, and that's probably true to a certain degree. Their family dynamic is still new to me, and I didn't want to make a bad impression in front of them, so I held back. Unfortunately, I ended up snapping at the end. I've learned a valuable lesson to speak up for myself and not cave when things feel unfair. Quick clarification on payment. My partner and I share a joint credit card, which we use to pay for meals out. Sister-in-law has a habit of avoiding credit cards, though I've never looked into why. Typically, when dining with my partner's family, I cover the bill with our joint card, and she Venmos me her portion plus 50% of my in-laws' portion. That's why I asked her to cover her share and at least split FIL's cost with me for his birthday dinner.
Now on to our third story. AITA for refusing to see my cousin after he quote-unquote killed my cat? Last year, I, 19F now, celebrated my 18th birthday on January 5th. In the Philippines, this is a debut, which is similar to a quinceañera. It was a huge event for my family, especially since everyone was already together after New Year's. I had professional photos taken for the occasion, but I also wanted a special picture with my cat on the special day. I have a male orange tabby, who was once a stray and is now fixed, named Tang. He's a huge part of my life, and I always keep him inside the house unless I'm with him. On my debut, I was looking for Tang to take that special photo, but I couldn't find him anywhere. I started panicking because he's an indoor cat and never goes far. I asked my cousins to help me look for him, but it was difficult as there's a lot of orange strays in the area. Eventually, my cousin, 25M, came up to me and said he had found him. He pulled what looks to be meat out of a bag, and my heart dropped. I thought he had killed my cat. I completely broke down, crying and freaking out in front of everyone. As much as I hate it, both dog and cat still get butchered for meat here, but hidden away from the authorities. As it turned out, my cousin was pulling a prank. What he had was actually rabbit meat to be cooked for my birthday. Rabbit meat also made me fully uncomfortable. I didn't eat that dish. It just seriously looked like a cat's anatomy, and it freaked me out. I found out that he had taken Tang to my uncle's without asking me because my family thought Tang was getting in the way while food was being prepared for my party. I was furious. I yelled at my cousin, told him to return Tang immediately, and demanded that he leave the celebration. He left. I was upset, but I didn't let it bother me as Tang was safe. Fast forward to this year. I didn't want my cousin at my birthday party because of what happened last year, and I made that clear to my parents. Despite this, my aunt insisted that I was being dramatic and said my cousin should be allowed to come. He showed up uninvited. I confronted him and told him again that he wasn't invited. He told me to take a joke and that it was in the past. I snapped and told him I didn't ever want to see him again. My aunt jumped in, calling me a big bitch and accusing me of being narcissistic for making my birthday about myself. Isn't IT supposed to be about myself? The argument escalated until my dad and granddad stepped in. My aunt and cousin eventually left, but it didn't end there. A few days later, my aunt started posting in the family group chat, calling me rude, difficult, and selfish. That I couldn't take a joke or that I don't know how to forgive, and that I will be sent to hell. She claims that I ruined my debut and this year's birthday celebration with my behavior. AITA for refusing to see my cousin after what happened last year?
Now let's get to our last story of the day. My 50M son, 29M, is getting ready to marry his fiancée of 3 years. I know her and I very much approve of their marriage. She's awesome and I couldn't be prouder of my son. I told him that I'd help pay for his wedding and his mother, and I managed to put together $15,000, which should help them have a pretty decent wedding. My son announced his wedding, and eventually my daughter, 27F, found out from my son's fiancée. She called me pretty irate since money has always been a sore spot between us. Around 10 years ago, my son went off to college and my daughter went shortly after. My son went to a local community college and later became a welder. My daughter was always more academically minded than him and got accepted to a pretty great school in New York for music. The problem is, my wife and I made too much money for her to get many grants or scholarships. I paid for my son's community college in full, but my daughter's college fund would basically only cover 1 year of tuition at the nice school, and I'd be out of pocket a little for room and board as well for that year. I told her that while I am so proud of her for getting into that school, I don't agree with her going to that school since we can't afford it. She didn't accept any alternative such as going to a local school or going to a cheaper school in New York. She said that she was going regardless, so I relented. I paid the deposit and she went. I paid the bills until her fund, $50,000, was done. She then started taking out loans for school even though I advised her against it, and she tried having me sign loans in my name to help pay for her education, which I did not, which didn't help our relationship. Our son got the rest of his paid out in a bulk sum out of fairness. She graduated with about $150,000 in student loans. She worked for an orchestra for a while, but didn't make a lot, so she became a teacher in New York, but continued to struggle financially due to the burden of her loans. She frequently asked for money, which I stopped helping with 2 years ago. I once offered to have her move back home rent-free, but she doesn't want to move from New York to rural Florida. We cut her off financially. This has led to a frosty relationship with my daughter, as she blames us for her woes, not taking loans for her and not helping more with her college costs. She even had a fiancé break things off when he found out about her loan burden, which she blamed us for. It all culminated with her calling in tears, blaming us for her financial condition, calling us terrible parents, and saying that since we obviously care for our son more, he'll be the only one we have contact with. We tried to reassure her that we still love her so much and we'd make a similar contribution should she get married, but that didn't help her calm down. She hasn't returned our texts or calls in a while, and we're pretty beat up about it. My wife especially is crying pretty often. Did I mess up? Am I the a-hole? I miss my baby girl. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. Be sure to like and subscribe. And I hope you have a great day.